Hello friends, it's Kylie back with you all, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of creating with you all today. I have the brand new Winter Bliss collection here on my desk from Creative Memories. Is it nearly summertime here in Australia? Yes, it is. Does it bother me that I'm going to be scrapbooking winter? No, it doesn't. This new collection is truly beautiful, and I am loving all of these sweet little icons that are featured within the embellishment pack, the stickers, the papers. It's all beautiful. And I have a brand new decorative border punch here, the Dancing Snowflakes border punch, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this. I've got a few ideas for how we can work with this, and I've already got some fun little snow themed photos here printed. We don't get an awful lot of snow where I am here in Australia. We probably get one really decent fall every 3 to 4 years, and it sticks around for a whole day. So that'll tell you. I know some of you are laughing right now. So when it does, we really, we go nuts with taking photos. We make sure that we get lots of snow photos. So my photos are printed. I've actually already cut these down. I didn't print these smaller. I've cut them down. And I'm going to be working with one of my very own sketches for this layout. This is sketch number 2 from my October 2025 sketch download. And I originally used the Copper Canyon 2 collection for my sample layout that I provide, but I'm going to work with the Winter Bliss today to create this design. So to start with, let's open out this brand new paper pack. And as always, let me get a non-Creative Memories branded pair of scissors because I don't want to ruin my good scissors. And I'm just going to open out the neck of that paper pack so I can slide these papers out and not crumple them. There we go. And there are some really pretty prints in this paper pack. So we need to decide on a paper for our background. Beautiful colours. You know what? I'm going to go all daring. And I think I'm going to work with this dark blue printed paper. So this has the diagonal striped lines on the back of it, and I think I'm going to work with this as my main background. So it's a matter of selecting a cardstock that's going to work as a frame, because if you have a look at my sketch design, I've allowed for a border around that background piece. And the unique thing with my sketches, I call them sketch by numbers. You can see here that all the individual pieces on my sketch have a number, and they are listed down here with the size that you need to cut that piece of paper, and you just adhere them in numerical order. So it makes it very simple to follow. So I'll refer back to the cover sheet, because the good thing with Creative Memories is on their paper packs, they always give suggestions of coordinating cardstock. And I mean, this has come from the designers of the collection. They're telling us what coloured cardstocks they would put with these papers. Now, since I'm working with that dark blue, I actually think I'm going to go with cool grey, which is about the only colour I don't have out on my desk. Give me a sec, I'm going to grab that. Okay, here we go. I've got cool grey, but look what else I have found. I completely forgot about the molten lava cardstocks that Creative Memories released on a promotion a few months ago. Have a look at that shimmer. I actually think that this is going to work well with this collection, and I'm thinking I might actually like to use that. I know we're only going to see a small portion of that around the outside edge, but I think I'm going to use this as my background because I love the shimmer that that paper has. So let's get started and see what our first measurement is. So paper number 1, 11.5 inches by 11.5 inches. Now you could just go ahead and, cut all your papers all at once and then just stick them into place, or you might just techniques like to be the same as what I'm doing here and just working, you know, paper to paper. Cut one paper, add it, cut one paper, add it. It's completely up to you. But we'll cut this first piece down to 11.5 by 11.5. Now, to conserve your cardstock or for whatever you're using for that background, you could gut or remove the center of this first, okay? And that's entirely up to you. You will conserve your supply, and you could use the center for photo mats or another project. That's completely up to you. We're going to stick down that first layer. And when you've got that even 1/4 of an inch border that runs around the edge there, then you can get that stuck down in place. I'm using the regular adhesive from Creative Memories. It's a little bit stronger. With having that shimmer and being, you know, the thicker paper, just be that little bit stronger to stick that into place. I normally like to work with the repositionable tape, but I think I'll use this regular tape for the background. There we go. Okay, so that's our first piece into place. The second piece on my layout is this horizontal strip that runs through just off center of the layout, number 2, and it's telling me that it's 11.5 inches wide by 3 inches. So this is where we get to choose another beautiful paper. And with working with that darker background, these are going to look amazing. Okay, I think I'm actually going to work with this pale blue paper. It has the fabulous check on the background. It's just got tiny little snowflakes. So we'll use this paper. And referring back to my sketch, it's 11.5 inches by 3 inches. So let's cut the 3-inch measurement first, like so. And then we can cut off that 1/2 inch for the 11.5 inch width. So that's going to get stuck here. Piece number 3. It's this larger piece up the top here, and it measures 9 inches by 6 inches. So we're going to slowly be building these layers of paper, and I think I want to break with the color tone and work with this beige. So we're looking at 9 inches by 6. Let's cut that in half to start with. So that's our 6-inch measurement, and I'm going to keep these stripes running horizontal on my layout, but we'll cut that to a 9-inch width. Like so. Keep all your little scraps because they'll be great for other projects, or you might even include these onto, you know, this layout. Okay, so that has our third piece of paper into place. Our fourth piece of paper is this vertical strip that is a tag, and it's telling me here that it's 3 inches wide by 9 inches. So again, we can go back to our papers, and I think I'm going to work with this. Is that like what you'd call an argyle print? It's got the grey design on the back, but I really like this tone of blue. So we'll cut that to our 3-inch width. So, and it's got a 9-inch length. Like so. Now to cut that ribbon end on the base of that tag here, or your little fishtail, whatever you'd like to call it, what I'm going to do is, working with that measurement on the side of the blade housing unit, I'm just going to place my strip in the 12-inch trimmer at halfway, so 1.5 inches. And I'm going to use that little line as a guide for my cutting. But I'm going to bring that down, and let's bring that down 1.5 inches. Okay, so just to show you, I've stopped when that little white line has got to our 1.5 inch marking. And then all I need to do is come in with my Creative Memory scissors, and we can cut our little ribbon tail end like so. You can, I mean, you don't have to go as high as what I have. I've gone quite high with that, with 1.5 inches. Maybe you only want to bring it up 1 inch. That's entirely up to you. This is slowly building and coming together. Slide that little piece underneath. I think I'm going to bring that up just a little because I want them to layer over each other. Then we have, this is strip number 4, like so. Now looking at my sketch, there's only one more piece to cut, and that is piece number 5 here, and you can see it's a decorative piece that runs along piece number 3 and over the top of piece number 2, and the measurement for that is 11 inches by 1 inch, because this is the beauty of sketches. You can follow along exactly to create them as they are, or you can use them as a launch pad for your own creativity. So I want to work in this fabulous snowflake, Dancing Snowflakes border punch. So let's just slide this away. Now that I found my platinum molten lava cardstock, that's a mouthful to say, I'm going to use that for my decorative border. So just going to slide that into the punch. And I can't wait to see this. I haven't used it yet. Oh, that looks so good. I'm just going to punch all the way along. I'm just very careful to slide that and move it along the punch to line it up, that I don't catch those little snowflakes. It's easy to do, so just give it a little wiggle there and you should be able to get them out okay. So that's the effect that that border punch gives. Isn't that fabulous? And in that molten lava, the platinum molten lava cardstock, that looks fabulous, just with the shimmer there. Okay, so we'll get our little scraps out of the way, and this is the piece that I want to work across that horizontal strip. So if we get these all back into place where I want to stick them down, I've moved that horizontal strip up a little. So we've got our banner tag there, and then we've got our beautiful punched border. If I have a look how I've actually worked with this on my sketch, and it pretty well layers over everything. Now I'm going to have to cut a little bit off the length of it, just because we've cut our page to the 11.5 by 11.5 width there. So I'm going to cut, just carefully cut 1/2 inch off the end, like so, and that will fit beautifully along the width of our page there. Okay, if we have a look at what size photo mats and photos I've used, I've got a 6.5 by 4.5 photo mat, so that will fit our 6 by 4 photo. And then I've got two 3.25 by 3 2.5 photo mats, so that will accommodate my cute little 3 by 3 photos. So all I've got to do is select a paper or a cardstock that I can work with for those photo mats. So refer back to our little sheet here. We've got baby blue, songbird blue, cornflower, cool grey or beige is the recommendation. I think to use, obviously, I don't really want to use beige because we've got the beige tone on this paper here. Baby blue would stand out quite nicely for my larger photo, but then it's probably going to blend in with the background here. I'm wondering how cornflower blue will look. Let's pull this out and have a look. It might be a little bit too similar to this tag, but you know what? I think what we could do is possibly add some ink to the edges. That's going to make that stand out. So let me cut that to size. It's 6.5 by 4.5. Like so. So that will sit here for us. And then we're going to need two 3.25 by 3.25. So I don't know if I've got enough on this little piece, but we'll see how we go. 3.25 and 3.25. That's one. No, not quite enough. So I'll just cut another little strip for our photo mat. Now I already know what shade of ink I wanted to work with on this cornflower blue cardstock, and I'm working with some distress ink in the shade of Picket Fence, and it's just like a chalky effect. It's going to look like snow around the edges of our photo mats. You could use whatever colour you like though. You can use a darker blue if you wanted to. You don't have to use the same shade of cardstock as I've used. You might want to use something different, but I'm just very messily, as you can see, going around these edges, just adding a little bit of that distress ink. And you can see that that's just going to stand out nicely on that blue tag. I'm going to do the same to these smaller squares of cardstock for our smaller sized photos. Okay, I'll get this ink dogger out of the way so I don't get it everywhere. I'm pretty happy with everything overall there, so I'm going to go ahead and get these stuck into place, and then we can work on adding some embellishments to our layout. So I'll bring in my repositionable tape here, and first things first, I'm going to get these photos stuck onto the photo mats. I'll start with those smaller ones first. And then we can add the larger. This is a wider allowance on this top photo mat because it's our primary photo on the layout. So you can see that there's a wider edged border there, like so. Let me just carefully lift those photos away. and we can get these pieces stuck into place. So I'll start with this horizontal piece first. And then we can add the beige over the top. Like so. So I've pretty well followed the same design as what my sketch was, and even on the sample layout that I created. The only real thing that I've changed is I've taken out this piece number 5, which was a banner, another banner, and I've used my punched border. But really that's the only difference that I've got for this layout. Stick our tag into place. Bring that down just a little, and I'll see how that looks. And our photos can come in. Like so. Might move that banner just a smidge. This is why I like to use my repo tape. So if I change my mind like I have and I need to move things, it will allow me to. And then our 2 smaller photos can go down here with our snowflake border running across the width of the page. I'm actually going to bring my photos up a little bit there, I think. Fantastic. All right, we'll get those photos stuck down. These bottom ones here. Like so, and then I can finish up with our little dancing snowflake punched border, and I think I'm going to add to this a little bit, so let's get it into place and then we can go in and have a little bit of fun with all these embellishments. Now I'm going to bring in the stickers here. I really like this star-shaped design sticker. I just want it on the width there of that beige, so I can snip that away. Save that little piece because you might want to use it on another project somewhere. Just stick that back on the sticker sheet. And then I really, really love these larger snowflakes. But what I was thinking, this is where I go into overdrive, into changing things up. What I'm thinking is if I bring back in this platinum molten lava cardstock, I've got my border punch. I'm actually thinking of cutting out some individual snowflakes from this border. So if we just punch another row, and then with our scissors, we can really carefully layer or cut away some of these snowflakes to layer. And see how that looks. Okay. Get rid of my confetti. All right, so bring back in the layout. If we were to layer some of these, over here, and then just layer some of the smaller size. I think I'll just randomly cut one away, and then just carefully with my scissors, I'm just going to round out the tip of the star where we're separating it from the border. Just rounding that out with my scissors. And that's just going to give us some little individual shiny snowflakes. And I can lay that over the top of these blue ones. I'll do the same here again for another one. I want to make sure I get an extra shiny one. And the same thing, I'm just rounding out where I've separated that from the border strip. So I can layer over those blue ones. So now all I've got to do is we need to choose our title, and I already know the one that I want to work with, Snow Day Shenanigans. There could not be a more perfect title for my photos. And I love that it's a darker shade of blue, so that's really going to stand out there. So I think what I'll do is I'll actually get these stuck into place. I'm just going to add our little freehand cut stars over the top. That actually fits perfectly. Let's add these with some foam squares so that they sit up from our page. One on the back of that one. This one might need two. It's a little larger. And we can layer those sort of on the diagonal over our border. And then the same thing for our title. I'd like to use foam squares. Keep that up off the page. Like so. The great thing too that I allow with these sketches is I show you where you know, suggestions of where you can put your embellishments, because a lot of you always say to me, I never know where to put my embellishments. I do include that guide on my sketch design, and then of course you can refer to the sample layout to see what I've done there. Quite often I'll change it around though. And then I can just layer some of these little leaves and twigs. I've got a small little tree there too. Just going to lay them in behind those snowflakes, and because we've used the foam squares, that'll be easy for us to be able to do so. Like so. Can add some extra embellishments up next to our larger photo here. And if you were using like the white jelly roll pen, I think they're out of stock at the moment on the Creative Memories website. They are coming back though. But the white jelly roll journal pens would be fabulous for adding a little bit of journaling to the bottom of this layout. And because we've used the darker blue for the background, that's going to really help that to pop and stand out. So there is plenty of room for those of you who love to add your journaling. I've got another little tree here. And we could add another little snowflake in behind this one. So let's freehand cut another one from our strip. Like so, and we could add that just in behind our other little snowflake here. So I'll get that stuck down. Let's add that with a foam square. A little bit of greenery. I've just added another little title sticker below my photos, and I've just gone through my stash And I have some beautiful navy adhesive rhinestone from my good friends here in Australia, Uniquely Creative. So I think I'm going to actually add these to the center of our little snowflakes that we punched. So I'm just going to add one there just for a little bit extra bling. So one to each center. And then I can add a smaller sized one to our little small one down here. So that completes my layout for today. I'm just going to bring that up to the camera so that you can see the shimmer on this platinum molten lava cardstock, as well as those little rhinestone embellishments that I've added just to finish that layout off nicely. You can see how quickly that came together and how easy that was following my sketch design. I will link my website below this video, www.papersweetpea.com. My website has tons of PDF downloads that you can try. This was the October 2025 sketchbook and sketch number 2. I also hope that you check out the beautiful new Winter Bliss collection and Dancing Snowflakes decorative border punch from Creative Memories as well. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.